The subtotals feature will total up rows of related data. Well, what kind of related data are we talking about? If you look at my Plate-Doh Inc. database here, I've got, well, sales for these products in the month of October, November, December. So there's the related data if I want to get a subtotal for all the products we sold in October, and then get a subtotal for the products in November, December, or even by year. All the products sold, get a subtotal for the year 2013 and then 2014. Now the subtotals feature won't work in tables, so if you got a table and you want to use it, then convert it to a data range, which we learned about in an earlier training video. Well, let me show you. Let me go ahead and click on any cell within the data range here and convert it to a table by coming up here and clicking on the Insert tab, going to the Tables group, clicking on Table. It selects the entire data range. Click Okie dokie. Now it's a table, and you can see up here the Related Contextual Design tab table. Well, my resolution's a bit smaller. If you had a wider screen, you would see the table tools up there. In any case, if I come up here and click on the Data tab, go to the Outline group, you can see that the subtotal feature isn't available until I go ahead and convert it back to a data range, and there it is. And you can see in the pop-up that it says it quickly calculates rows of related data by inserting subtotals and totals. So I'll get my subtotals for every time there's a change here in month, where it goes from October, then November, then December, and then the total amount, or the grand total, for all these subtotals here. And that brings up a good point. If I want to get a subtotal for all the products double bubble, you can see I got one here, I've got one down here. The subtotal feature only works if the data is related and grouped. In other words, if I sort it so all the double bubbles are together, so I can get a subtotal for all the double bubbles, and then a subtotal for all the nerds rope. If they're scattered, it can't get a subtotal because we got one here, and then it puts a total there, one there, puts a total there. No, it needs them all grouped together, and we can do that by sorting A to Z. So go ahead and click anywhere in that column, and then you can come up here on the Data tab to the Sort and Filter group and do A to Z, or just right-click and go down to Sort and then A to Z. So now I can get a subtotal for all the double bubbles. Let me go ahead and undo that. Let's just do it for every change in the month so I can get subtotals for all the products sold in the month of October, then November, and so on. It's really simple. Just come up here on the Data tab to the Outline group, click on Subtotal, and it says, okay, we want a subtotal at each change in what category or what label here. Every time there's a change in the year, well, you can imagine if I had 2013 here, then 2014, 2013, 2014, I'd get a subtotal every time there was a change. Again, it's important that you get them all grouped together by sorting it. So I sorted my month columns so I have all the Octobers together grouped, and then all the Novembers, Decembers, and so on. So let's do it by month. So every time there's a change in the month, give me a subtotal. What function do I want to use? Do I want to get a subtotal that's a sum or a count, an average? Well, go ahead and scroll down and see all the rest. I'm going to go ahead and do sum. And then where do we want to add the subtotal to? Well, the subtotal is going to be based upon and added to. Let's do it by those that are sold. So let me go ahead and check sold and uncheck income. And you can do it for both. I mean, you got multiple selections here. And then go ahead and click Okie dokie. And there it is. Every time there's a change in October, it gives me a subtotal for the related data, or the Octobers here, and Novembers are related, so it gives me a subtotal there. Fabulous. Then I finally get my grand total for all the subtotals. And then notice over here under the name box, we've got the levels 1, 2, and 3. And what that does, let me go ahead and scroll back up, is that because of the subtotals, you can go ahead and collapse them by level. So if I go to level 1, that's the grand total. Go to level 2, then I just see the subtotals for all the related data for all the months of October, November, December. Then if I want to see all, that's level 3, pops everything open. You can do it that way, or you can see these little minus signs that when you click on it, it collapses, in this example, just October. So if you're giving a presentation or if you're doing your own analysis here and you don't want to see the details of October or December, but just November, go ahead and click on the minus sign to collapse it. And then the plus sign means that there's more than what you see here, so go ahead and click on it to expand it, and we're back to, well, let's go to level 3. Now we're back to where we started, where we can see everything. And then if you want to go ahead and remove it, just come up here, click on Subtotal again to get Remove All, and we're back to where we started. Now, besides the subtotal feature here, there is the subtotals function. And what that does is that, well, let me go ahead and insert it below by hitting the equals key and typing in the first couple letters, arrow down to select it, and it says returns a subtotal in a list or database. Go ahead and hit the tab key to pop open the function. It says, okay, for subtotals, do you want it for an average of a range, counting, max, min? We can do sum, double click, and then hit comma to go to the next argument in the syntax. And it says, hey, what's the first reference for your subtotals? In other words, I can go ahead and select one range, and then comma, go to another range, and comma, go to another range, and have all the ranges come up as one subtotal here. Let's do this range right here. Click and drag and go all the way up for income, and then comma, and we can go ahead and select another range, but let's not do that. Let me go ahead and scroll down and hit the backspace key, hit enter, and there you go. 33,000 was the income. When it comes to subtotal, you know in an earlier training video how you can hide your data. Like if I want to go ahead and click on row 42 and drag all the way up to row 4 and right click the selection and say hide. Even though we can't see all but one row here, the subtotal feature will still bring in the total amount because it sees it, so it's unaffected by us hiding any rows or columns if we hit any columns, but in this case is about 40 rows. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.